our speakers are. Like we have Councilmember Tamara Paltin, she's here, Angus McKelvey, Senator Baker, and Mayor Victorino, and of course you, Dean Louie, and Dennis Terpin as our final presenters at the end. But I guess it's more appropriate now than ever before, in any time that I can imagine, where we need prayer. You know, the nation needs prayer. Everybody, we need prayer to come together and to unite and to be joined in the common cause against any foreign and domestic enemies and problems and issues. And let's put God back in charge of our lives and unite together, and instead of being divisive and separated. That was a scary thing. I'm a Vietnam veteran in foreign wars and service member, and I know that people would never, the guys that I once served with would never tolerate or accept that kind of behavior from our nation's capital. That's totally disgusting and totally offensive. So anyway, that's why with prayer, we all need prayer.
Amen.
And I'm going to start off with appropriately the God's prayer warrior, Pastor Lucky Ka'ahumano, and Pastor Matthew. Right.
Makaukaw, kanikapu, kalimay kawa. I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. For great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable, and his name alone is excellent. From the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same, the Lord's name is to be praised.
Let's bow our heads. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we come to you today, Lord. Father, we lift up our nation's capital, Lord Jesus, and our newly elected president and vice president. Father, we lift up all of our people, Lord Jesus. Father, it is time now to focus, Lord, to bring you back into the picture, Lord, because they have put you off for so long, Lord Jesus. And now we ask, Father, that you come in agreement with us. And Lord, you touch these people that run the capital, Lord Jesus. Put their hearts in place, Lord Jesus. Speak to them individually what must be done, and put away all this ungodliness. Father, this I ask in your name, because you're the one that can perform all of these miracles. I ask and pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
May the Lord God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may God lift up his countenance upon all of you and give you peace, prosperity, and pleasure in what he has chosen for you to do. Yes. In the name of Yesu Cristo, Mahalo nui loa. God bless. And aloha.
Aloha.
Makoko, kami ka po. Kahana. For as it is written, when the trumpet of the Lord shall sound, the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we that are alive shall be caught up together to meet the Lord in the air. Till then, we'll see you there. Aloha.
Aloha. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, well, that's the way we gotta start everything today, and hopefully our nation is starting off with prayer and as well, because we need it. The country's got to come together. I want to thank everybody who's taken the time to log into our Zoom meeting. The press release that we sent out, that we said the meeting would begin at 5:30, and then I sent out another agenda program remarks that said it started with welcoming remarks at 5 o'clock. So I messed up. I apologize for that if anybody's confused about all that. So we basically started earlier than what the press release says. Thank you, Pastor Matthew. Pastor Lucky, Pastor Matthew. God bless you guys. Thank you. So, like all of you who are experiencing no in-person meetings and having to do things by Zoom and conference, you know that it's just not the same. It is what it is. We have a requirement, just like the county and the state and the federal government and everybody, you still got to operate and you still got to move forward, whether it's COVID or not. There's quarantining or not quarantining, no personal meetings. So they still have things that have to be done. One of those things for us, the West Maui Taxpayers, is the annual meeting. And everybody who's been attending our annual meetings for the last 41 years, we've had annual meetings. I remember was it the first one 41 years ago? Still here, thank God. But this is the first time ever we've ever not had an in-person group. In fact, our meetings got to be so popular because we were so fortunate to have great food caterers and food selections. The word got out about how good the food was, that people would come, if nothing else, just at least for a good meal. And we also had some very interesting presenters and speakers, as our government leaders giving reports, as well as other special presentations. All that's worked out fantastic in the past. And this will not be anything as good as that, unfortunately. I know that probably less than 20% of the people that normally would come to our annual meeting will be participating in this Zoom conference, in the Zoom meeting. It is going to be recorded, however. So we're going to record this and have it on a link that will be able to be replayed or accessed on our website at westmaui.org. Our westmaui.org website has got a phenomenal amount of information on there of prior meetings that we've had, prior annual meetings, the speakers, the presentations, all these things are accessible via that website. And I encourage everybody who ever has any question about any of those things or where our issues are, is to go to that website, westmaui.org. We're going to have our elected representative, Senator Baker, will be first on the line, then Representative Angus McKelvey. He just called me. He's somewhere in a bunch of mess over at the Capitol. They're having some problems over there that he's trying to get himself ready. He said he may be a little late coming in. And if so, could he speak after Tamara Paltin, our council member, if necessary? And I said, sure. I don't think Tamara will mind if she goes before you. And hopefully, is that all right, Tamara? Beautiful. Then we have some presentations by Dean Louie, who's right here with us. He's the chairman of the University of Hawaii Medical Maui College Lahaina Education Center. And we're really excited about him and this center and what it can do for the community. And we're very excited about his level of commitment to make this a usable facility for our community and to present ways of how that can be used. This whole distance learning concept when this was, the center was envisioned, of course, did not even comprehend that this would be a mandated type of way that people would have to communicate and learn. So it's ahead of its time. This facility is positioned in a time when it couldn't be more needed than it is right now. And how it can be utilized and by whom, that's also something that he's completely open to, and is going to be seeking in his presentation people from the community who want to get involved with us in our West Maui Education Center committee, which he's going to be the committee chairman of. And we'll also have Dennis Terpin, who's our safety expert. We've been after Dennis for many years, trying to get him to move to Maui permanently, and we finally got him to move to Maui permanently. He's living here now as a full-time resident after visiting for 30 years. A safety expert teaching FEMA classes and all types of emergency preparedness classes, and a very popular guy now because people are seeing the things that he's talked about and was trying to educate them about has come to be reality, and that they need more and more training and more awareness of the proper things to do and to learn lessons from the past. So we're excited about those two presentations, which will be at the very end. I'm going ahead right now. I'm ahead of myself. So this is good. One of the things that anybody who's been to our annual meetings knows that if you go to any typical annual meeting from any company or condominium association or whatever, you normally have a very long, drawn out, who knows what is going to happen. And we've got the record for being the absolute shortest annual meeting that's ever been happened in everyone. Because all we're trying to do is satisfy the minimum requirement of the bylaws, and that is to elect our directors. And that's the only official thing that we really have to do. So after that, the meeting will be over. So this is our slate of directors. We've got Lee Chamberlain, Dean Louie, Richard Jarman, Rick Nava, Gregg Nelson, Jess Park, myself, Joe Pluta, John Seebart, Fereshteh Tali, and Dennis Terpin. And we had a unanimous ballot cast in the favor of all those directors to be reelected in the absence of any objection. So I guess I didn't officially call the meeting to order, so I'll do that first. I call the meeting officially to order of the business portion of the meeting. Proof of notice of the meeting, we've got back proxies and returned mail for a sufficient amount to have a quorum for a meeting and the election of directors. I just talked about the slate and the fact we have a unanimous ballot cast in for them, absent any objection. Does anybody object to the slate of officers? Raise your hand the way you have an objection. Not seeing any, then that's great. The director's slate is unanimously adopted and passed. And that concludes our annual meeting. I mean, how good is that? So if there could be roars of applause, there would be. And we could get back to the food line. If it was back in the Civic Center, we could go back and get our second plate of food, but now we can't do that. We do have pizza over here at the Ed Center, though. If anybody is in the area, come on by. Okay, so that was, West Maui is a vibrant and unique community. It's something that like 41 years ago when we had our very first West Maui Taxpayers annual meeting, there was 5 or 6 people present at it. And then each year it built up and built up to where last year we had almost 300 people in person, again, because of the good food and great subjects and topics. So I don't know what our exact count of and I don't know if that's important or not, but I do know that I appreciate the fact that those of you who are on, who took the time today, thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to log in, to participate with us. I see Roz is on there, good, Senator Baker's there, and Mayor Victorino was there a little while ago. There he is, there's Mayor Victorino.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, thank you.
Yeah, this is Shane. I'm helping Mayor today. He's in a meeting right now, but he'll be here momentarily.
Okay, thanks, Shane.
All right.
So that all of our speakers that are going to speak are here, except for Angus. Angus is, again, he may be late, but he will eventually be able to come in with us. And my last little bit of remarks is, before we start, fortunately, is that we the West Maui taxpayers have now are concerned more than ever about our isolation issues. The isolation of West Maui from the rest of the community has put, we've always were concerned about the inability to get timely and prompt emergency medical services here in the West Side. And while we had some efforts with a hospital developer who's changed his mind, apparently, to move forward with the hospital, we've got interest now in having discussions with Maui Health Systems. And prior to COVID, they were all committed to begin with us to do, within months, a 4 to 5 bed freestanding emergency medical service here with an urgent care component. And then, of course, COVID happens and all that completely changed. But their commitment to come to West Maui has not. And they would definitely want to do it again, but it's going to be now more about money and timing to do that. I've had some discussions with Paul Chang, the developer of Pulelehua, with Paul Sakata, Suprata, the CEO of Maui Land and Pine. And with the two of them, they're willing to work together with us to find a suitable site in West Maui to build and develop and have this 4 to 5 bed freestanding emergency room and urgent care component. So those discussions are happening right now and it will continue to be ongoing. We're very excited about that. We don't have any definitive proposals yet, but we do have an interest and a willingness, which is, again, maybe our concerns have redoubled from what they ever were in the past. The COVID's shown when you have a situation where you need beds, Maui was 65 beds under what the state requirement is for number of beds for the county of Maui. In 2009, they were 65 beds behind. So what are we behind today? More than that. And that's the state's general plan. So the state's plan of how many beds we're supposed to have, they haven't lived up to. And maybe they were hoping that the West Maui Hospital was going to be a solution, a partial solution to that problem, but now that's gone away. So, but the need hasn't gone away. And more so than ever now, I think that people are heightened with the ability to understand that we're going to have to be looking at creative ways to operate the county government, the state government, and our national government. But where are we going to spend the money? Well, any talk that's been out there about cutting back health services or cutting back ambulance services, certainly I'm hoping that, I know our board is concerned about that, and I hope the rest of the community will join with me as well as our government leaders to know that that's the last place we want to save money, is help anything that's going to decrease our ability to properly react properly to health and safety and concerns and needs. And we were really happy to see the mayor's purchase this Hawaii Telecom building in the county in Wailuku there to repurpose and re-outfit the Maui Emergency Management System. That's fantastic news. And I'm hoping that Tamara Paltin and the council will fully support that in whatever is needed to get that emergency management agency fully staffed, operational, and equipped to be able to learn from the things of the past that have happened. We've got some incredible fires and floods and experiences that we've learned from, and what we're going to be able to do about that in the proper facility. That's a high priority as far as our West Maui taxpayers are concerned, as the health and safety aspect of that. And I know that we haven't found anybody disagreeing with us. And I'm hopefully that our government representatives will be successful in seeing that our health and safety needs are encouraged, enhanced, and enriched, and promoted in every way possible. So when it comes time to getting support and approvals for Maui Health Systems and us to get permits to build this 24/7 ER, I'm hoping we can count on the support and encouragement of our governmental representatives to make that happen and expedite it. Like most things, people wish they would have had it done in the past. We did. We got to deal with it. The reality is, today's today. Now is the time. And it's barring the fact that we've just averted a civil war yesterday, in the absence of a civil war, we need to move forward together, united. The greatest thing that I've seen in West Maui, as well as all of Maui County and Hawaii in general, is that people here, when the tough situations happen, people pull together. There's a lot of times when this community and this nation or this state is joined together. And this is a time I'm thinking and I'm hoping and praying that it's going to be a time of reunification, of commitment to everybody to work as a team and to see what we can do to make this a COVID, the new normal is going to be something we can all tolerate and learn from and benefit from somehow. No one knows what the new normal is yet, but this is part of it right now, what we're doing. And I know that Senator Baker and Councilmember Paltin and Rep. McKelvey and Mayor Victorino have been doing this Zoom conferences for many meetings already, and Blue Jeans conferences, many different video platforms. So thank you for your willingness to continue to move forward on that regard. Senator Roz Baker, are you ready to give us something, Roz? Can you wave if you're ready? We're gonna unmute you. I guess you gotta unmute.
You can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself.
You can unmute yourself, Roz.
There I am. Okay.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Well, the legislature is not yet in session. We don't go into session until January 20th, which is another auspicious day when we inaugurate a new president. So some of the things that we're looking at, I can't give you bill numbers because none of those things have been accepted yet. But unfortunately, there's some not very good news that people need to be aware of. And that is that because our tourism has been very, very limited, the revenue coming into the state is down considerably. And our Ways and Means and Finance committees, along with the governor, are looking at having to take $1 billion out of what was anticipated that we could spend. So we're looking at a very skinny budget for the state. I'm hoping that with some CARES money coming from the federal government and some of the restrictions on how that money could be spent and when it could be spent, that's going to ease it a bit. Hopefully we won't have furloughs. Hopefully we won't be closing programs. Hopefully that we won't see the kind of austerity that I think many people were projecting earlier in January, late December. But as I said, our money committees, the legislature hasn't opened. They haven't started the formal hearings. We will be looking to try to see if cash is not available, are there some general obligation bonds that we could move forward so that we can do some critical infrastructure improvements that we're hoping to. One of the bills that I plan to introduce, because it addresses a need that we have in Maui, and that is for affordable housing. We had some deadlines in measures that passed last year for Keawe Street apartments and some of the other rental housing that may be going into the villages of Leali'i. And those dates have come and gone. So we're going to be reintroducing that and extending the dates out so that hopefully those projects can go going, because we know that affordable housing is very much needed on the west side. We're also working with Department of Transportation to keep moving forward on our highways, working with DLNR and other companies to make sure that the improvements that are made on our beaches are really done in a way that is going to be helpful for all. And we can keep our our county going by utilizing the ferry between Maui and Lanai to bring essential services and personnel over there. Of course, continuing to work with Maui Health Systems to make sure that they have the supplies and the personnel that they need. Also working with Maui College and some of the other training institutions, because we've got a horrendous shortage of APRNs, other registered nurses, physician's assistants, doctors, and other healthcare professionals. So to the extent that we can encourage our young people to go into those fields, and we can help ones that are coming out get their test, get their licenses, and encourage them to practice in Maui County, or at the very least in the state of Hawaii, I think we'll be in good shape. But those are some of the things that I continue to work on, and I think you'll be hearing more about as the legislature convenes later this month, and we get down to the business of what the people expect us to do when we spend our time at the Square Building in Honolulu. I'll be available to answer any questions that I can at the appropriate time. Aloha, and thank you for including me on the program.
Thank you very much, Senator Baker. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much, and we know the good work you've done for us and the work and the challenges that you have ahead of yourself. Thank you for your willingness to do that. And we've always been supportive of your efforts for us. You've done really well for us, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see Angus up on the screen yet, so is the mayor ready? Is it the Mayor Victorino? Mayor, I see him on the screen, but there's there's no picture there for the mayor.
Yeah, it's muted right now.
Yeah, Mayor, can you unmute yourself? Who was it that was speaking with the mayor there? Was it just, you remember? Okay, well, then Tamara, how are you feeling? You want to jump right in? If you're willing to unmute yourself, I'd like to thank you, Tamara Paltin, our county council member from West Maui. Thank you for participating, Tamara, and years past as well. Happy New Year, and you got the stage. Thank you.
Sure thing. Mahalo for this opportunity. Aloha mai kako. My name is Tamara Paltin, and I represent West Maui on the Maui County Council. I just was up in Pu'ukukui this morning on a site visit. It's looking beautiful, even if we're at half of the amount of our average rainfall right now for the past couple of years. It looks great, and the Pu'ukukui watershed crew is doing an excellent job. I attended the Blessing for Kaiaulu o Kupuohi, 100% low-income rental project earlier last month, and they were gonna get started early this week. It's a 89 unit for the 30 to 60% AMI area median income. So the rentals will be really affordably priced, and they hope to be finished in a couple of years. They're really motivated. Goodfellow and Merrill Group is doing the groundwork right now. I wanted to share also that we're going to be hitting the ground running this year with the West Maui Community Plan update. Mr. Pluta was a member of the Community Plan Advisory Committee, and they had the draft update as required by Maui County Code about 10 months or so, maybe longer. And then it was handed off to the Maui Planning Commission for 6 months. That 6 months deadline ends on January 22nd. So we're anticipating receiving from the planning department by way of Maui Planning Commission the draft, and it will enter its final phase with county council review. The county council has 1 year to review, but we're looking to expedite and hopefully finish committee review by budget this year. I was chosen amongst my colleagues again to chair the Planning and Sustainable Land Use Committee. And South Maui Councilmember Kelly King will be my vice chair, and it'll be a 9-member committee. So all council members will be on that committee. And once we receive the draft update from the planning department, we're looking to let out a press release that will go more into detail, but I'm looking to hold a couple of town hall meetings before we hear the draft plan in committee, just to let the community know what's going on. And, you know, we've been talking about expediting this process for a long time. And I just wanted folks to know, you know, the reasons why we're trying to complete our review before the budget. And the first reason really is just simply because we're 14 years behind. So it's supposed to be updated every 10 years. It's been going through the update process for the last 2.5 years. It started with the planning department conducting community outreach, followed by an Alaka'i group, and then the CPAC, and then the Planning Commission. And so the second reason why I would like to try and get it out of committee before budget starts is that this West Maui Community Plan is supposed to direct my colleagues and myself, decision makers, as to the vision that the community wants to see and how our budget should kind of go along. And so I think it's a really great opportunity for West Maui to go into the budget with all 9 council members being familiar with the work that's been done by both the CPAC and the Planning Commission. Some of the things that I've heard that caused a lengthy review for some of the other districts was, you know, there was a lot of changes made. And so I just wanted to share with you folks my intention for reviewing the plan. A lot of community members have participated to this point, including Mr. Pluta and others in testimony and whatnot. So basically, if there hasn't been a change from the CPAC to the Maui Planning Commission, it's not my intention to rewrite any of that. I'm gonna give all the members an opportunity to bring up anything that was the same through CPAC and Maui Planning Commission that they want to see discussed and give a reason to change at the first meeting, as kind of a methodology to ensure everybody comes to their first meeting prepared with their community plan reviewed. And then after that, we're going to spend, I think, a lot of our time in areas where it was a differ from the CPAC to the Maui Planning Commission. So from what I've heard from the planning department is between the CPAC and the Planning Commission, there was only about 15% of substantive change, other than like, let's move this section and put it in the appendix or things like that. So I think if we just focus in on that 15% of substantive change from the CPAC to the Maui Planning Commission, listen to community feedback if there's a reason why other things should be changed, and discuss that, I hope that we can finish our committee review before the budget process, which starts about April. That's my goal. And, you know, it would free up the planning department long range to focus wholeheartedly on South Maui Community Plan update, which, you know, is been a goal of ours to get this process moving. The wild card factor in what could hold things up is the amount of community testimony, oral testimony. We have no control over that. So, you know, if there's 3 hours of testimony and our meeting is 3 hours long, we won't be doing much work. I have spoken to Chair Lee about it, and she has agreed to authorize some recess dates. So in case we have that much testimony and we're not able to address the issues, we can meet at a recess date. But that's basically kind of my first year plans for that committee, is to expedite the community plan review process so it can become ordinance as we're going through the budget. And similar to Senator Baker, I'll be happy to entertain questions at the appropriate time. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I think I saw Representative McKelvey click on as well.
Yes, he did. Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember Tamara Paltin. I appreciate you and your comments and your activity and what you had to say. We look forward to working with you as the best way we can to get your ability to get that CPAC plan through the committee and before budget. Boy, that is very ambitious. I don't wish you a great deal of luck on that one. I guess it's a lot of stuff, but God bless you for trying. That's all you can do is try, right? So
right.
Thank you for that. So Angus, you hear us, Angus? Can you wave? Can you unmute yourself? Angus, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry guys, my other machine here for some reason wasn't launching the Zoom app. So I'm here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm with Roz over here in Honolulu. We're getting ready for the session coming up. It's going to be challenging. I like to joke, challenging like the sushi. It's going to be very difficult given the evisceration of our economy because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I know that we're happy there was something at least done at the last minute, and we're hopeful that something bigger can be done in March by the federal government. But even with that, I think we're looking at severe budget shortfalls over the next several years. And as such, we're going to probably be looking at a lot of programs insofar as reduction, elimination of vacant positions, perhaps looking at special funds that may need to be sunsetted into the general fund. All of these things we can do to keep core services, our safety net services running, to preserve the critical programs, especially for us on Maui and the neighbor islands, support for our hospital, as well as to keep infrastructure projects going. And this year we're really focusing on, in the last several years, we put a lot of money into infrastructure, into our community, both in Maui and abroad. And really the focus this year, and part of it will be this committee's, is trying to get these projects off the books and actually making them happen. We're looking at systemic changes, reorganizing some of the construction functions, and looking at some permitting on the state side vis-a-vis the procurement code, so that we can try to streamline some of these processes and eliminate some things that are creating redundancy and bottlenecks right now. What we're also doing is we're looking at bills that we introduced in the past, bills that looked at perhaps sharing some functions with the counties. That the counties are actually in a really good position right now with their property tax regime compared to the state. And yeah, working together, we're going to have to work together and hopefully find areas where the county and the state can be partners because of the fact that the state may not have the resources to do the things that we were doing in the past because of the budget surpluses. We're also looking at, areas across the board insofar as trying to get the hybrid learning going for our education, ensuring that our teachers can be employed, that furloughs won't go through as planned, that we can make the federal money stick, as well as bolstering our testing capabilities and doing other things at the airports and the harbors to keep our communities safe. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We're hard at work. The biggest change this year, I'll be real quickly, is the way we take testimony. We're doing it all through Zoom. There's going to be a system and a portal set up for people to sign up to testify, where you can also go ahead and track bills as well. You'll be notified of the hearing time and date and be given a link, which you then will be used, and it's only unique to you to log in where you can testify. So I'm excited because our neighbor islanders can really be a part at the table and not have the logistical impossibility of Honolulu prevent them from being there to testify. Our website will have full details as well as a step-by-step. It's www.capital.hawaii.gov. You can sign up there, you can track bills, and then you can go ahead and testify via Zoom. I think it'll be a real plus for us over there at the Capitol. So that's kind of it for us at the House side. I'm looking forward to working with Roz, with Tamara, with everybody next session. We're going to all need to be really tight to ensure that Maui doesn't get left high and dry by budget cuts and reductions and other things that are coming down the pike. Any questions at the appropriate time, be happy to answer them. And thanks again, Joe, and everybody for all the hard work you've been doing, especially these last several months. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Angus McKelvey, our state representative. You and Roz have done a great job for us, and I know you got your hands full coming up. Hopefully, you will have God's speed and support, good Lord willing, to be successful in all you need to do. The challenges are immense, and thank you for being willing to address it. Is Michael Victorino? I see that I don't see a name there. I see Mike's logged in. He signed in. Is there somebody there to speak there?
Yeah, Joe, Mike will be here in just a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Because we oddly enough, we've had 3 politicians speak in record time.
Okay, so are you ready for him now?
Yes, we're ready for him right now.
Okay, let me go grab him right now.
Okay.
Oh, here he is.
Perfect.
Perfect timing.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Victorino.
Yes. Nice to see all of you, and a healthy and prosperous new year to all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. And I don't know what has been said. I am in the middle of many other meetings, but I was asked to talk a little bit about not only the health and safety of the residents, which is a top priority for all of Maui County, especially West Maui, obtainable housing and some of the projects that are started and some of the projects that are in the books right now. Also, some business ideas and how we can work, utilize a lot of what we have, make the changes that we need to ensure that the new economy, as we build out, as we develop throughout this county, especially West Maui, which has been a shining beacon as far as development and growth, is done in what I call a more efficient and a more qualitative program. So let's start with health and safety first of all. In fact, everybody left the room. Okay, now I can take my mask off. See, when everybody's gone, I'm free to speak without my mask on. First of all, people need to embrace the health and safety measures that have been put out by the CDC and the Department of Health. I've said it many times. I'm going to repeat it once again. When you protect yourself, you protect your family, you protect your community. Some of the outbreak that has occurred lately is because of social gatherings, and many of them are private social gatherings. In other words, families getting together during the holiday season. We knew this, we said it, we warned you. It's been on TV, on the radio, it's been across the board. And they seem, and in many areas, including here in Hawaii and West Maui is no different, where people have decided that, hey, you know what, we can go out and have fun because the visitors is back. I guess the pandemic is over. Well, it's not. And a lot of the spread now is community oriented. We've been doing ramped up testing. The other day when we had the testing in Lahaina, of the nearly 200 tests that were done, 15 new cases in Lahaina, in the west side of Maui, okay? So we know it's still happening. Specific areas, we cannot divulge that. That is not allowed by HIPAA rules. However, it is happening, and they're not visitor related. They're all community-based spread, okay? So with that being said, I think we need to be watching mindfully of our actions more than we watch other actions. Yes, I know there are visitors, and I've just been out there. I was out there today. I was out there earlier this week, and I was out there last week, all to make sure that the Century Golf Tournament was done in the right way. And when I say the right way, they've worked very hard with all the protocol testing and bubble. You cannot enter the tournament in any way, shape, or form, worker or family member, unless you've been tested and have a negative COVID-19. And they're doing testing every 3 days with players and family members and other participants who need to be a part of the tournament. The rest has to stay out of the bubble and not participate. In fact, there's no crowds. I was there today. Nobody, absolutely nobody other than security, those volunteers that are working on the golf tournament itself. But there's physical distancing. They're not to deal with or go near the players. Everyone is at least 6 feet, if not further. Really, all the protocols that we discussed there are doing it very intensely. And let me say this. As of yesterday, Century Insurance donated another $250,000 to our food bank, as you all saw, along with the $200,000 they did to Maui United Way earlier this year, and have assured me that they are in here to help us even further once the tournament is completed for all the nonprofits that have continued to help them or are essential to the tournament itself. So I'm saying that there's one example of a group that has come in and really helping the economy to the best of their ability and protecting not only themselves, but protecting our community at large. So, you know, I'm looking at many of the hotels right now are running at 12, 15, 20% occupancy. They are direly hurting, but they are operating. One of the things I've gotten from many of the resorts is the fact that many of the people that are staying there stay within the property. There are not that many going out and traveling around. No, there's some that go. There's no question some leave the area. But many of them they've seen a major uptick in the amount of services like spa, food, other amenities that visitors are not leaving the area. They're not leaving the resort quite as often, and they're utilizing the services offered to them. So if you have been keeping track of that, you'll see that this is good signs to a new type of resort where people will stay more on and within the property and within the resort and not traversing and degrading other resources throughout our community. So with all that being said, I see some bright lights as we open up and continue to develop our new hospitality industry, and they're buying in. Testing, we're now making testing available to other workers and their people, anyone who is a part of the hospitality industry. That's the other reason why we have this community testing, not only for the visitors, but for all those who need and want to get tested. And there's no requirements, and we are utilizing that right now to make sure that we keep not only West Maui, but the entire county of Maui as safe as possible. The other aspects about the community spread, the social gatherings, you know, we've changed that. In fact, we've changed the restaurants, as you're well aware of, 30% of capacity, closing at 10 p.m., and, you know, other restrictions. I am looking at, and I've discussed with the governor, and we're sending down some new proposals when it comes to retail and cutting down retail hours, maybe even to the point of capacity in big box stores and other retail outlets. We're going to work hard to do the best we can without shutting down the economy, because it cannot be done. It will not be done. And I will make sure that we do it the right way. We've got a council that wants to be a part of this, being their own task force. They're putting things together. I welcome their advice. I welcome their suggestions. However, I think we've been doing this for 10 months, and there's not one rock that has not been unturned by my administration, by our medical experts across the board. And we are very proud of what we've been able to do. You know, another thing I want to remind everyone, we've kept the numbers low until recently, and that's something to be very proud of. Imagine if this surge had happened during the summer when Honolulu was getting their big numbers. We know that it's not easy. We have different populations that live different lifestyles, and once one gets infected, it spreads really quickly. So we try to minimize that. We try to make sure it doesn't happen, but all you need is one contact of a contact, and that's the end, and it spreads. And they live in such close proximity. So affordable housing, you know, we have the housing up above by Star Noodle that's going to start 89 units. Hopefully this year, before the end of this year, by the middle of this year, I'm hoping that we'll get the Keawe Street Apartments complex blessed and groundbreaking and get that going. We're hoping to get those as two, and that would be about 300-something units total. We're moving quickly on some other housing projects that are being offered to us in some land, and so we'll be bringing that forward over the next 6 to 9 months with the consultation with the council and the planning department and the planning commission. I want to say that I'm thankful that we have Ikaika Ohana Partnership, good fellows and others of our group that are working with us to, really do the right thing for our workforce housing. And this is West Maui. And there's more that is being looked at right now. You still have our Pula Lehua development that hasn't finalized everything, but we're pushing that. That could be 1,000 units there. So again, Makila Farms are still pushing theirs. There's others, and there's some new ones coming out. And hopefully, before the end of this year, we will have, like what we have in South Maui, a number of developments, affordable rentals available and being built for our workforce housing. Moving right along, also, we are going to be sending to the council the Maui Island Plan, or the community plan, I say the West Maui Community Plan, which has been updated by the Maui Planning Commission and the other groups that have done that. The West Maui, the CPAC that was done, I want to thank them for their hard work, in getting this done. It's an incredible long time because I worked when I was on a council back in 2014, 12, 13, 14, and here we are in 2021, still moving ahead, and we still have other communities to take care of. Planning department is now also preparing and revitalizing the plans to submit to the county council areas of short-term rental and other areas that we believe that needs to be done. Also, I drove the lower road to see the amount of impact that coastal and sea level rise is impacting these areas along with some others throughout the county of Maui. We need to realize that anything built new or anything we revitalize, we've got to start managing the retreat now and not wait to the future. However, like everything else, if you're talking repairs, sometimes we cannot repair something if we got to move it out of the area. We've got to be able to maintain it until we've secured the enough area to move, whether it's a sewer, a pipe, or whatever, a line that needs to be moved out of the area that is being degraded by sea level rise and in a safe area where we know it'll be protected for years to come. Managing drainage systems, managing other areas, our roadways that sometimes are state highway, Honapi, Lani Highway, especially in the area of Okumihami, we need, and Olawala, we need to work very diligently with the state to move that back. We have some plans and I've been dealing with the Department of Transportation, Ed Sniffen and those guys, trying to make that a priority and not some of the other areas that they want to change. This is important. We've got to move quickly or else that road will fall into the ocean and be too late then. With all that being said, there are many, many challenges in West Maui. But the most important and the ones that's staring us right in the face is getting West Maui up and running again with the new quantitative tourists and not where it's overtaxing our resources and as well as our infrastructure. These are very important. We also just purchased the West Maui land reservoir above our treatment plant. So we're now putting together the final phases of putting our pumping station and pipes to the reservoir to take the R1 water instead of injecting in the well, taking the majority of that water and utilizing it for both agriculture wherever available, green zones wherever available, and most importantly, irrigation, so that we can reduce the amount of potable water used throughout the county of Maui, especially West Maui. These are areas that we have made priorities, and we've been working very hard behind the scenes trying to get this done. And with the guidance of the community and professional planners, we will have a real good plan and a real good way of getting rid of all this, valuable resource, R1 water, and utilize it instead of injecting it into the ground. Beyond that, I look forward to continue working with the council and the members that are recently elected. I think there's more common ground than opposition, and we need to bring our hands together. I will close with this. Yesterday was one of the most tragic days in America's history. Many of us witnessed what I call the most appalling behavior by Americans anywhere that I can recall. And I'm pretty old compared to some of you, and some of you are pretty much the same age as I am. We've seen many, many protests. We have seen many, many issues brought up. but to protest and try to overturn an election result really is the pinnacle of what I call the degradation of the federal government. As you've seen, many of the top officials in that administration are sending in their resignations or stepping away from any dealings with that individual. It is my hope that the individual will see that the ways that he's led this country, and that he will step back and just, if for lack of a better word, be quiet and let us finish up the last 13 days, and let's move on to a new hope and a new beginning with the Biden administration. I look forward to working with them and our congressional group up there. Some of the new names that have been named, or some of the new directors and others that are being named in the federal government are people that I have dealt with when we were on NACO and in the Conference of Mayors. So I'm excited of what I see ahead of us. There is a lot of hope, a lot of bright spots, but there's going to be a lot of pain in the meantime. Our state government, unfortunately, financially, is going to be very, very tight, and we understand that. And the county is not going to be further behind. If the council thought they saw an austere budget last time, 2 years ago, they ain't seen nothing yet. Because you better smile, because you're going to have to work on it. Because we're going to make a very, very austere budget to do what we need to do and making sure we take care of the people to the best of our ability and not raising fees and taxes across the board. That would be the worst thing we could do to hurt not only our businesses, but our employees, our workforce, and others. So I say mahalo for giving me this time. I truly appreciate it, and thank you very much for your support and your ideas through the years. And I continue to reach out to all of you to say, together we can make Maui Nui strong again.
Thank you very much, Mayor Victorino. God bless you. Appreciate what you had to say and your continued cooperation and participation for our issues that we brought to your attention in West Maui. Appreciate that very much. I know that we're just a small part of the whole problem that you have, but we also recognize that we need to work together with you to get some of the very serious issues resolved together in cooperation with the community. We thank you for your commitment to us and moving forward. And congratulations on, we're especially happy about your purchase of the Mount Hawaiian Telecom building for the relocation of the MEMA headquarters there. Good move, very smart move in our opinion. And we hope that the council will support your budget request to make sure that MEMA office is completely properly staffed, operated to be able to help the county deal with emergencies we know are going to be ahead of us in the future. Thank you.
So thank you for bringing that up, because it was part of my notes, but I didn't want to be talking and rambling for half an hour. But let me say that is a big part of it. And then I can now move both for Lahaina, West, South, and Upcountry, especially those three particular communities, along with Lanai and Molokai, and putting our police stations and other improvements that I'd like to bring out once I get that completed as emergency centers in the region, so that when we are cut off by flooding or by fire or whatever, we have somewhere where people in emergency services have a place to put down and hunker down and be able to continue to coordinate whatever efforts there is. I was just at the Olawala Fire on, what was that, Christmas Day? And again, our fire department did a terrific job. But once you close the highway, that limits the people's accessibility. And we had to, because if you know where the fire was burning, it was burning right along the old Cane Road along the highway. And, I think our fire department did a terrific job again. And once we were able to, I was there around 11:30. They asked me, and I said, it's your choice, but I really advise them to start contraflowing so that we can get people moving instead of having everybody sit on the highway. And it worked out real well. So thank you again, Joe. And that's my, goals for once I get these other issues taken up, other goals that we'll move into once we get these other facilities and projects completed.
Thank you very much, Mayor Victorino. God bless you. Okay, well, that's all our government representatives have got a big job ahead of them. We want to thank you for your willingness to take on that challenge. And I'm hoping that all of us in the community and the state will join together with you together in a new spirit of cooperation and willingness to work together. something good's got to happen out of this tragedies that have happened. And I think that maybe the attention of the importance of how united we are and how one situation impacts another situation has never before been seen so clearly as it has been with this COVID and the new normal. So thank you and God bless you moving forward. We're so very happy that in our own little ranks of our West Maui taxpayers, we've got 2 new directors joining us. The first of which is Dean Louie, who's the director in charge of our West Maui Lahaina Education Center right here, the facility we're talking about. And he's put together a little presentation. Dean Louie, you want to talk a little bit about your background and what your plans are?
Yes, absolutely. So happy New Year, everyone. My name is Dean Louie. I'm a faculty member at Maui College. My background is I was a program coordinator for culinary arts. I'm a professional chef by trade. And most recently, I was working as a program coordinator for our extended learning and workforce development, or formerly O.H.S.T, teaching non-credit, programming non-credit classes throughout the community. That means industry, trades, continuing education, etc. So what they needed is they needed someone to come to the West Side, which I'm very familiar with. I had a restaurant here about 20 years ago on Front Street, and so I'm familiar with the community and the business area. And so they asked me to revitalize the education center here in Lahaina off of Front Street. And so if you don't mind, I'll play a little presentation so that you have a better idea of what we're offering.
So this should be available to everybody in their screen. You should all be able to see this PowerPoint. So, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep. Can you see it, everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, this is our UHMC Lahaina Education Center, and it was established in 2007 for the express intent for students to reduce the amount of traffic going to the main Kahului campus. And so this particular center provides outreach to UH students throughout the system. It's centrally located. It's right off the bypass. We have wonderful street parking and parking on the Front Street apartment side, entrance to it. And so we're really greatly centrally located. And so it's also down the street from Lahaina High School and just down the street from Maui Prep. So we try to get students to consider going to Maui College before they go into their 4-year degrees. It's a safe, incredibly safe place for students. Over the last semester, we put in different screening issues, temperature checks, we social distance throughout the facility, and we're able to screen students if they test positive, we're able to track them and let them know about that. We also have a security system inside and out for test proctoring, and then we have regular cleaning schedules once students vacate the premises. The facility is great. It's great for studying, for those students that have multiple generations studying at home or forced to study at home. So this is a great haven for those students that are going to college and they have to focus on their academic studies in seclusion to some extent. We have a lot of nursing students that are really focusing on their studies. We have great high-speed Wi-Fi and internet. We have a small lounge, and we're developing a little library so students can actually lounge and not just study all day, but they can take a break. We have board games we've established. And we also focus on test and exam proctoring and certification. So if you in the community or the business areas have that need, we can talk about it and figure out what we can do to really support further West Maui, the West Maui side in terms of test proctoring, since you can't go to Honolulu or the mainland anymore to take these tests. They want to do it through Zoom or whatever it is, and we can be one of the test proctoring centers. For the business aspect, we offer professional development and certification training. Let us know what your needs are. We offer community non-credit classes, and I've done a lot of them myself at the different resorts, whether it's sanitation, customer service, forklift training, etc. We're able to do those things and customized classes for the businesses. So for those of you who are in the public sector and government, let your constituents know we have that capability here at the Lahaina Education Center. We are also open for hourly room rentals for teaching or having meetings. We have obviously you see we're having Zoom meetings on a regular basis here. And for those that want to take music lessons or you know instructors that are looking for spaces to teach, we can offer that as well. Please consider becoming an advisory committee member. I'm looking to host our first meeting in several years here at the Lahaina Center and through Zoom, through distance. If you'd like to participate and voice your concerns or give us some ideas on how you'd like to see the center shaped, we'd more than love to have your participation and feedback for us. We're looking at a great year for change. Please come and visit us if you haven't yet. It's a great location. We're steadily improving it little by little. Again, we don't have any funds, but we're looking to provide something that this has been in existence for the last 14 years, and we're looking to improve it. And we need your assistance and suggestions for that. My name is Dean Louie again. I'm the coordinator, and Julie DeLiva is our student support. Our phone number is 662-3911, and you can find this information at the UHMC site. Just look at outreach. Come visit us and tour the facility. Thank you very much for your time, and again, Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Dean Louie.
Joe, before you go on, Joe, I have a couple of quick questions for him, and I promise they are quick. Number one, is this advisory committee set up by the county, by the state, by just the community? Who's setting this up?
I'm setting it up, Mayor.
Okay.
As a coordinator, they used to have advisory committee meetings with the Lahaina Education Center. I'm looking for people on the west side that can provide some assistance. I've got some people obviously through hospitality, because that's where I was focused. But for those that are interested, please let me know if they want to contribute and talk. I'm thinking about doing it toward the end of next month.
Okay, well, please give me an idea on a schedule and an agenda, and I'll try to make not only MEMA, but maybe Public Works, or one of those that have a lot of responsibility out in West Maui to help you guys along, and maybe even planning. I'm not sure, but I'd really like to offer some county resources to help you along with this area. And then the final question I have for you is, how many members are you looking at? Or you just as many people as come, you'll kind of work around that? Will you have an official set up a committee, and who's on the committee and who to contact regarding that? I know you got the numbers for you and Julian, or whatever her name was, I believe. I forgot the name. I apologize. In other words, I want to help in every way possible. How's that sound?
Thank you very much, Mayor. Appreciate it. I will, we're still processing it right now. I'm announcing this meeting right now to this particular group, but I've got a list of people that I'd like to call on. Again, some of the people that are in hospitality that have training needs, anyone who might have training needs, I'm looking at providing as much non-credit training or credit training. We're looking at different venues of how we can really utilize the center. I think it's been neglected for a long time, and I really want to let the community know it's here.
Well, I appreciate that, and we have our workforce job training program that this could fit very well. I have the unions like the ILW that I work very closely and are looking for help in this area also. There's a number of aspects that, what I would say is this: Tyson Miyake would be my chief of staff, and I'm going to put him at your disposal to help you in any way possible to interconnect with the business community, the hospitality industry, the nonprofits, and help you in that area. And then we can go from there. Okay, so I want to make sure that's available to you, because like Joe, whenever they've asked for it, I've always tried to do my best to help them. Right, Joe?
Right.
Okay, so I make that offer, and email my office, and I'll have Tyson get on it and see what he can do to help you. Again, let's help you develop what you can, because West Maui, like South Maui and any of the other communities, I love when I see this kind of involvement by the community and by people like yourself. Thank you, Dean, very, very much. Really.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for recognizing that, Mayor. We're so also excited about Dean Louie and his excitement and his enthusiasm and willingness to get this thing going. This is a tremendous resource here that we've got, and it couldn't be better positioned than it is for the needs that we currently have. It's like this was a pre-pandemic planning. We got it up. We're set up. It just needs to be utilized now.
Absolutely.
It just needs to be utilized.
No, thank you, and mahalo for everything. And I've got to run to another meeting, but Dennis, you know, I've talked to you many times, and I know Dennis very well and what he has and what he's planning to do, and I welcome his help also. Mahalo to all of you. And again, as I said earlier, let's have a healthy and prosperous new year. I think that will help us all work together and make Maui Nui, West Maui, and every one of our communities a lot stronger and make us a more resilient county. Aloha and God bless you all.
Aloha. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, our next speaker, I'm sorry that you're going to miss him, but we're excited about Dennis. As I said, we've been after Dennis for many years, trying to get him to relocate here permanently. He finally did. He's now a welcomed West Maui resident, full-time after visiting for 30 years. He's convinced that this is the place to live, and we agree with him 100%. Maui no Kahoi. And we're just thrilled that he's got this willingness to help us in this area of health and safety and resiliency for the community, of planning to make a strong ability to react to situations when they occur in the proper way, and to plan. Dennis, your background and so forth is incredible, and it's available on our website. I don't know if it's going to be in your presentation or not, but you got the floor now.
Well, thank you very much. And I want to say aloha to all of our distinguished guests today. Can everybody see my first slide here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. So let's get going. So I'm Dennis Terpin, and I have been involved in occupational safety and health for approximately the last 50 years. I have been a fire chief for Amoco, a safety director. I retired a couple of years ago from the University of Illinois, Chicago, where I had a double role as a senior industrial hygienist and the emergency manager for the university. I've been actively involved in FEMA at the Center of Domestic Preparedness in Anniston, Alabama, and certified to teach courses in incident management and command through the Emergency Management Institute. One of our goals we would like to achieve this year, and then we'll go into 3 other goals, is that I am certified by FEMA, and I am able to teach about a half a dozen certified classes. One is called Standard Awareness, which is a kind of an anti-terrorism, but it's kind of tailored to hazardous materials, COVID, protective clothing, the hospital emergency response teams, which deal with incident command, and hospital decon teams, and a couple other programs. And the really unique thing about this program is they're a 100% grant funded through FEMA at a time where everybody is starving for budget money. 2 things have to happen for us to be able to teach these programs in the state. Is obviously the Center of Domestic Preparedness has to reauthorize the indirect training program, and secondly, I need to be certified through the State Emergency Management Agency as a certified instructor in Hawaii. Currently, I'm certified right now to teach in 6 other states. So those things have to happen, and once they happen, FEMA supplies basically supplies me, supplies all the teaching materials, issues a FEMA certified certificate, and that pretty much is about 100% grant funding. With the only other costs available is you have to get me to the class. So we have that unique opportunity, which I think right now there's only one other individual in the state of Hawaii who is certified through FEMA, and I believe he can only teach 1 course. So hopefully we could share that knowledge and expertise with the state. One of the things I want everybody to kind of realize is what really happens when an incident starts, and we're not going to go into this entire slide, but I want everybody to realize that all basic responses start at the local level. They start at the local level and they end at the local level. So essentially, those first critical minutes, depending on the incident, it could be minutes, hours, or days, depends a lot on what happens in the outcome of the incident. So if we look at our West Maui preparedness goal, it's pretty much the same as the national preparedness goal. We have mission areas. We have prevention, protection, mitigation, and responses. One of the things that we look at for the West Maui Taxpayers Association is looking at core capabilities. And we've kind of looked at those over the last couple, 3-4 years that I've been involved, and based on the incidents that have happened on or near West Maui, looking at the after action reports, and we've come up with 3 basic goals. So the goal of the West Maui Taxpayers Association is we want to increase preparedness on West Maui. We want to work with all federal, state, local stakeholders, emergency managers, responders, emergency management disciplines. We're here to help. We want to be able to share our expertise in any way we can. So if you would like to help us, or if you want to join and partner up with our emergency preparedness preparedness out of West Maui, we would absolutely love that. So if you look at the 3 main objectives we want to get going here in West Maui, the first one basically is to work with Maui Health Systems to establish that 24/7 emergency room, emergency department with 4 or 5 ER beds and urgent care centers. That is imperative. We want to look at looking at the area that just suffered the fire last week. And we're sitting at our homes and condos, and we're worried about, with the food spoil in our refrigerators, or the cable is out. But I flew out to do a training session the day after, and probably a few of us, except for our governmental representatives, don't realize the impact on the airport. Basic planes came in, flight crews couldn't get to their hotels, passengers couldn't get to their planes. And the next day when I flew out, literally that airport had planes at all these gates, and we actually left late because they had to ferry planes from gate to gate. So just an impact. So we're looking at, is it possible to have a quicker response in that area? And then we're looking at a boots on the ground incident command center. And the mayor kind of talked a little bit about that as being one of his goals. And the Lahaina Ed Center, where this presentation is, the meeting is taking place, is an excellent place with that. If you look at all of the areas and the setups for web broadcasting. So we look at, why is it so important to have a healthcare system established on West Maui, to have a working ER and a 4 to 5 bed component. It could be for stabilization, or whatever the case might be. So let's take a little bit of time, probably a minute or two, and just explore the golden hour. So I was an EMT in 1972, and I got my paramedic in 1976. I was a volunteer fireman in the community for I lived in before we moved here. And we look at trauma survival. We look at that golden hour. But for EMS, for us clinicians, we look at that platinum 10 minutes. That starts when the incident starts, the accident, the heart attack, whatever the case might be. So we look at that golden hour is 60 minutes. The platinum is the first 10. But we look at from the moment of injury to the time of definitive treatment. We have to assess in management. So basically, every action that takes place could be life-saving within that first golden hour. So challenges that face that golden hour in West Maui is communication capabilities, weather impact on resources, or just a road. The reaction of all of the healthcare delivery systems. Yes, we have an ambulance service. Well, what happens if that ambulance, they're out on West Maui? How many patients do you need from a car accident to have a mass the incident? And the teachers in paramedic school is 2. So if you have even a small mass casualty incident, that's going to tax the healthcare delivery system. We look at the availability, reaching that golden hour. And that golden hour is total response time. And my next slide, I'll kind of end with what that total response time is. We look at personal and equipment out of service. One of the things Joe and I talked about is we have active CERT teams in Hawaii. That is going to be your community response team. What happened if we looked at all of the individuals who have lived here and retired here that have a background that they've retired from as a paramedic, a firefighter, a police officer, an incident commander for a private industry, and in a crisis where those skills can be utilized, why aren't we utilizing them? Could we have an auxiliary unit where we can pull this expertise in just in a background mode? It's just something to think about. We look at political and cultural landscapes. Everybody is suffering from budget cuts. It doesn't matter if you're a private family, you're Ohana, okay, or at state level or federal level government. We look at the real urban paradox of pre-hospital care. Some places have good pre-hospital care, others don't. But where does disaster preparedness fit into our scheme? And that's why we've come up with these 3 goals. So if we look at why is this emergency department so critical to be established on West Maui, we look at that golden hour. That's the time the accident happens or the medical emergency, the time to dispatch our first responders. They have to respond to the scene. They have to stabilize. Then it's the response time to the hospital. That's what I mean when I say total response time. Then we look at the situation that happened last week with the fire. And we all know what happens when that road's closed. And we had about 50 of our finest firefighters from Maui fighting that fire to get that road open. But how does the fact that there is not a fire or EMS station in that area compromise other possible West Maui responses? Again, our objective 2, something to think about. Then our third objective is our boots on the ground. And the mayor alluded to this in his presentation, is if we look at a functional area for an incident command, it's a place to provide support, resource coordination, and be able to work with the Emergency Operations Center at or near the incident scene to support local management. That is critical for us. So these are our 3 goals. And mahalo for letting us share what our goals are. And again, at the appropriate time, if anybody has any questions for us, myself or anybody on the West Maui Taxpayers Association board will be happy to interact with you in the best possible way we can. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Dennis. That's awesome. Well, we want to encourage all of you to know that the West Maui Taxpayers Association is open to everybody who wants to participate with us. Our membership fee is very reasonable, but even if you don't want to contribute to be a member, we still would love to have you contribute with your time and your ideas and your thoughts. You can be on a committee of any of these areas that we're working on, and you don't have to be a board member to be a committee member. We have working committees. Health and safety is one of them. Educational training and concepts is another. Transportation is another. We invite you to go to our westmaui.org website to see more about those opportunities. This may be the shortest annual meeting that's ever happened in history. And with presentations, you're all very patient and cooperative. Thank you so much, everybody who's participated today. We want to wish you a very happy new year in the new normal and invite you to your continued participation with us in the future. Please don't hesitate to call us any way you can. Any questions? And does anybody have something they want to bring up, a question now? Raise your hand if you have one. Not seeing any, then that's fine. Thank you. God bless you. Happy New Year. Aloha.
Aloha.
So we're done.
Good job.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Cool. Well, we performed our